Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about what happened before Fukushima. America has an ugly history. In fact, it's one ugly that's worldwide on how much damage has been done to this earth and the world's ocean. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk pre-Fukushima. One thing our sister, Anjali, when she talks about Fukushima, she also constantly mentions how much they don't care about this earth, don't care about the ocean. And ladies and gentlemen, she could not speak any words that are truer than what she have said. Probably the most realest statement ever heard during mankind, as far as I'm concerned. It's sick. And we have been brainwashed into thinking that no one could run this world better than them. It's a lie. Dogs could run this world better than these folks. And I'm going to get into this and show you. Too much brainwashing has been going on for centuries. Those in charge are not the best and not the most fit to run this planet. No, not at all. We've all been brainwashed into believing lies. But see, no matter how much covering up these folks do when they cover up their F-ups, there's always publications about it. Always remember that. Some people are just better at hiding things than others. But when you see the disasters they have caused, they are mega disasters. This USA Today article came out November 17th, 2017. So it really was not that long ago. Top 20 onshore U.S. oil and gas spills since 2010. And ladies and gentlemen, these spills have been conveniently kept out of the media. See, these folks don't want you to see how bad they really screw up. They're going to keep lying and trying to prop themselves up on pedestals that they don't belong on. But let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. There have been all types of crude oil and large petroleum spills since 2010, not only here in the US, but up in Canada as well. I want you to take a look at all of these oil spills. Look at the dates. July 29th, 2013, 865,000 gallons of crude oil spilled up in North Dakota. July 25th, 2010, 444 gallons of crude oil spilled up in Michigan. June 4th, there was a pipeline called Enterprise Crude Pipeline, LLC. Spilled 513,618 gallons of crude oil. If you go down, look at all these oil spills, y'all. Look at the dates. And it's like hundreds of thousands of gallons. And some of these are gasoline spills. Again, Michigan, South Carolina, Sweetwater, Texas, Oklahoma, Illinois, Alabama, a lot in Texas. Texas pretty much dominates the list. Arkansas. Look at all this. These are crude oil and gasoline spills that have occurred in America from 2010. Boy, can you imagine if you went further back how bad this shit really is? This is a disgrace. Colorado. This is a disgrace. So millions and millions of gallons of crude oil and gasoline has been spilling across America consistently every single year in this country. Massive amounts. Massive. These things have been reported to the U.S. Department of Transportation, but all of these spills have not been in the news publicly. So you can look these up. This really did happen. Now, we're going to go over some of the most massive oil spills that have occurred. And I'm going to show you one that is so bad that the land and the waters have never recovered from this oil spill. Now, it talks about an oil spill that occurred in California in 1910, Lakeview, Gusher. And this oil spill went on for a year from 1910 to 1911. All right, the second biggest was in the Gulf, and it was an oil spill that occurred in 1991. You can look these up. I'm not pulling this out of thin air, y'all. Not pulling it out of thin air. The third was the Deepwater Horizon, which happened in 2010. And in Mexico, Mexico had the fourth largest oil spill on Earth that occurred in 1979 through 1980. But the worst one, and I'm going to show you photographs, occurred in Nigeria. It was an oil company owned by the UK called Niger Delta. The oil spill went on for 20 years. Wait until I show you the photos of Nigeria where it occurs. It's still a mess. The UK. And ladies and gentlemen, this whole thing was done by sabotage and greed. It went on for 20 years. Did we hear about Niger Delta? No. We haven't heard a thing about it. Let's get to some of the pictures of what it has done over a 20-year period in Nigeria. These are shots of it. There have been all kinds of court proceedings over in the UK regarding this 20-year oil spill that occurred in Nigeria. This is it. Can't use the water, can't use the land. Now, a lot of the foreign news did report on this, but here in the United States, complete silence. Complete silence, y'all. 20 years. Our Queen Ajali speaks nothing but the truth. They don't give a damn about this world. 20 years. It is a mess in Nigeria. A mess. This is a mess. And you can best believe this oil went in the ocean worldwide. Worldwide. There is nothing that can even live in this water. They said even infants have died because of this area. Death to infants. 20 years. You know how deeply embedded this oil is into the land now? After 20 years of this going on? And it has not been cleaned up. And there's also constant fires in this area as well. It is an environmental disaster. And I'm going to show you what it looks like in 2018. All right, these shots we're taking that you're looking at in 2018. And as you can see, there's fires and all kinds of loss of life in the area. It is disgusting. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And they've been trying to clean it up, but this place is a mess. It is beyond a mess. And it says Nigeria, the Gulf oil spill dwarfs the one that occurred in Nigeria. And you can see, look at the people that are trying to clean this up. Look at how they look. And this is 2017. And they said this whole thing happened through sabotage. Sabotage. Look at that. Look at that. This is Nigeria. You know, I don't want to hear anything about these fake abilities these people have and what they're smarter than everybody. I don't want to hear all this nonsense, especially when you see the conditions that they've left, a trail of destruction that has been left all over this planet by these folks. See, 90% of oil spill in Niger Delta caused by theft and sabotage right here. And this story came out February 22nd, 2018. So you can see this same area that this oil spill occurred over a 20-year period, it still looks horrifying. Theft and sabotage. And this is a UK-owned company that did this. This is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I don't want to hear anything more about these people and their alleged fakeified intelligence. Okay? I don't want to hear another damn thing about it. I don't want to hear it. And nuclear waste. Now, when I was growing up, I can tell you that I remember medical waste being dumped in the ocean. And people would be walking along the beach and all of these hypodermic needles and all kinds of medical waste would wash ashore. And, and this still happens. But I'm going to get to that at another point of this video. Now, this is nuclear waste that has occurred in the world. And it's a lot. It's a lot. The first documented nuclear waste in the US that was dumped in the ocean occurred in 1946. So this is CBRNE portal. I'll leave the link to this article in the description box. But let's take a look at some of the different time periods where nuclear waste was dumped into the world's ocean. And again, never reported, kept completely silent. Completely silent. And it's disgusting. And this is the Wall Street Journal also recently put out that plutonium levels are 1,000 times above normal on the sea floor, 50 miles from San Francisco. And there are 50,000 radioactive containers that lay at the bottom of the sea floor. And it's been there for many, many decades. After World War II, for many decades, nuclear industries use oceans as a dumping ground. It was only 2 decades ago that dumping from ships was internationally banned. Now, from 1946 to 1993, 13 nuclear-capable countries use the ocean as an end to dump nuclear radioactive waste. 1946 to 1993, y'all. And I looked up multiple articles, and this is definitely the case. The United States alone dumped vast quantities of nuclear material off the coast between 1946 and 1970. So there are more than 110,000 containers down in the ocean. More specifically, up to 15 years after World War II, the USS Calhoun County dumped thousands of tons of radioactive waste into the Atlantic Ocean, often without heeding the simplest health precautions. This goes on around the world. Okay, so this is the United States. In order to make sure nuclear waste container drums sank, the sailors would sometimes shoot them with rifles. On top of that, the Pacific, there is estimated 40,000 containers that lie on the bottom of the ocean floor near San Francisco, and Japan has also disposed a magnitude of radioactive waste into the ocean. And this is prior to Fukushima, y'all, prior to. Russia, on the other hand, has dumped 17,000 containers of radioactive waste, 19 ships containing radioactive waste, 14 nuclear reactors, including 5 that still contain spent nuclear fuel, 735 other pieces of radioactive contaminated heavy machinery, and K-27 nuclear submarines with its two reactors loaded with nuclear fuels. The K-27 sank in 1989 and is currently resting on the floor of the Barents Sea. 1 mile deep. With this nuclear reactor and two nuclear warheads, in total, there are now 6 nuclear submarines that are just lying on the bottom of the ocean floor, lost as a result of failure. 4 belong to Russia and 2 belong to the US. Can you imagine what they've been emitting over these years? In Europe alone, some 28,500 containers of radioactive waste were dumped into the English Channel between 1950 and 1963 by European states, some of which are being now discovered to have leaks. Which makes sense. You know, they've been underwater all this time. I'm surprised. I'm sure there's a lot. We're never going to hear about this, ladies and gentlemen, because see, these folks that are running things now, all they're about is talking a good game. But when you really start digging into the history, they're full of shit. Okay, so in addition, lots of radioactive waste was disposed of off the coast of Japan, and this is prior to Fukushima, and in the South Korean Sea. In all honesty, every nuclear nation has some extent or another could possibly link to the dumping of radioactive waste, and most of them are in the ocean. Collectively known containers from Europe, let alone the rest of the world, translate to hundreds of thousands of tons of radioactive waste. It is like having a tooth x-ray every time you enter your bath. Wow. It wasn't until 1993 that nuclear and radioactive ocean disposal has been fully banned. It is not banned, ladies and gentlemen. They're just hiding it. They're hiding it. It's not banned. It's not banned. See, they'll say whatever they have to say to keep you from investigating stuff. It's not banned. Okay, radioactive dumping went on over in Fukushima. It's not banned. Fukushima just did it. And they've been doing it all this time. Medical waste. Now, this I knew about. I actually, when I was in social studies, I did a report on this. This was happening a lot when I was growing up. People would be walking along the beach, and then all these hypodermic needles, vials with blood in them, and even human body parts, a foot that's been amputated from someone at a hospital, or an arm or leg would show up on the beach. That's where they dump this stuff. You ever wonder when they amputate stuff from people where it goes? Much of it goes in the ocean. That's where it goes, ladies and gentlemen. Now, they'll tell you something different. But I'm telling you, I remember reading and hearing about this on the news, how, sometimes body parts would wash ashore. And a lot of this stuff were from amputations that took place. But as you can see, vials of blood, needles, hypodermic needles. And this is something that washes up worldwide. You can see the plastic in there. Plastic has been dumped in the ocean even way back, even before I was even in existence. Okay, it's been a long time. But the ocean has been the dumping ground to cover up a lot of stuff that goes on in the world. But these are things that are found. This was found in Hawaii, medical waste in the ocean that washed up. So as you can see, they don't secure this stuff very well when they toss it into the ocean. And that's why it's constantly washing up back on shore. It's disgusting. All those bottles. Okay, when you look at this, do you really think these folks know how to run things real well? They're the inventors of filth. Look at this turtle. And this is from dumping in the ocean. Toxic waste dumped in the ocean. And this is also Hawaii. This is disgusting. But I remember this kind of stuff. Once in a blue moon, they would have these stories about medical waste coming ashore, and it was a big problem. You can see the IV bags. I mean, where do you think this stuff goes when you're in the hospital and you have to be hooked up to an IV, and everything they use in surgery and facial mask and all that stuff, it ends up in the ocean. These folks don't care. They put that stuff on a barge and dump it right into the sea. Sewage, raw sewage, put on barges, dumped out in the sea. These folks seriously don't care. They don't love this planet. They don't love this planet, y'all. They don't care. And all they're concerned about are selfish gains, having more resources, okay? And as you can see, here's a leg. This is disgusting. It really is. But this is something that they were doing even as far back when I was doing my little research in school. I could even trace this stuff back to the 50s, where hospitals were dumping, paying money to have a lot of this stuff pushed right into the ocean. And that should tell you, if you got to do this and you accumulate this kind of waste, then you've thrown the entire ecosystem off. And this is why this is happening. This is sickening. And it's not just, body parts and syringes and vials of blood. It's also drugs. A lot of drugs from these hospitals end up in the ocean as well. They throw that in there too. But nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, this stuff can be found. I'm not the only one that can find this information. It can be found all over the internet. And you know what? Don't come and talk to me anymore about no damn high IQ. I will erase that shit and keep it moving. And don't come to me talking about you're smarter than everybody and you know how to do everything, but I'm going to erase it all. You don't have a leg to stand on. Please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. Join me on Black Junction TV and blackspot.com. And I want to thank you for watching this. Peace, family.